Let's bring in on the Menard Studio hotline the NFL featured columnist for Bleacher Report, Russell Baxter. You can find him on Twitter at Bax Football Guru. Thanks for the time, Russell. Appreciate it. This Deflategate thing is stupid. We all know it. Is there an end in sight from your standpoint?
Yeah, I think Tom Brady's going to be suspended for Super Bowl 55.
Good answer.
Is that how long the appeal process is going
I mean,
to take?
enough is enough. You know, I've done so many shows today, and thank you for having me on. And
Sure.
I've done so many shows over the last couple of months, and I'm just settling on one line. Never in the history of the world has there been this so much hot air about hot air.
Yeah, no kidding. Because the way it looks now, like the judge we may know something here any minute, maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday, but we're pretty confident it'll be sometime before Friday because that's what he said it would be. It would be sometime before Friday. But then, you know, whatever he rules, the side that doesn't get their way can go and appeal. I mean, at some point, somebody's going to just have to go, we're done with this, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was a story floating out there today that Tom Brady, whether it's true or not, was willing to take a one-game suspension settlement. But you don't know where that's coming from, if it's true and so on. Both sides are, you know, they're in the foxhole, and they're both lobbing grenades and not looking what they're doing. And, yeah, there's just like, when is this going to end? And it's a shame because it's really kind of, you know, even with all the drama that's going on in Washington right now with RGIII, okay, and there's plenty of drama.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
This Deflategate thing just hovers over the whole league like a bad film.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the situation in Washington. Well, first, before we get too far into RG3, do you think Brady plays that game against the Steelers on week 1?
I'm just going to stick with what I thought was going to happen originally. And now you're hearing, by the way, it's either 4 games or no games. Mm-hmm. So if you ask me that question, I would say no games. But I always thought it was going to be a 2-game suspension to begin with. So if you're asking me the question you just asked me, I would say that he'll be suspended the first 2 games. But I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, at this point, that's the
I'm
thing.
waiting for the judge to look at them and look at both parties and say, you know, you guys make me sick. Can you just, can you just figure this out?
And you bring up an extra, you know, the way you say that, you know, you look at both sides, you just go, neither one of them is coming out looking all that great. But at the end of the day, will this have any adverse effect on the popularity of the NFL?
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, we've seen far more worse things over the last 2 years. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
No doubt.
You know, from the Ray Rice situation to the Richie Incognito situation, bullying, domestic abuse, spousal abuse. No, I don't think it will be. There's going to be certain people that are turned off, okay? But, you know, I can't explain it. It's inexplicable. You know, there is no fall-off of the popularity. People very much, you know, compartmentalize the off the field and the on the field, because the on the field for some people, let's be honest, it's far too more important for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Russell Baxter, our guest, NFL featured columnist for Bleacher Report. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3 and online, ESPNEvansville.com. Now let's get to what else is going on over there in Washington. RG3 is not going to be the starter. It's Kirk Cousins. It's his show, not just week 1. We're talking the whole season, according to Jay Gruden. Is RG3 on that roster at the end of the season?
I don't think he will be, because I think they will keep him on the roster. And I genuinely think there will be a team out there that makes a deal for him. Now, are they going to recoup what they got, giving up what they did to get the 2nd overall pick in the draft? Absolutely not. But in this day and age, you know, it's better to get any draft choice than it is to get no draft choice, because you never know what that draft choice could lead to. It could lead to the coupling of other draft choices and moving up. Okay? The problem for RG3 is, PR-wise, he's not doing himself any favors, because the scuttlebutt is that the players would rather see him go.
Yep.
And when you have that, it's not like he's not performing because he's not healthy and he just needs a place to go to a different system. It seems like it's more than that, and that doesn't make him a very tradable commodity.
Would he be a decent fit And, I mean, obviously, you're right. You're absolutely right, in my opinion. He's lost that team. There's no doubt about it. The locker room and the camaraderie on the field. But if with a fresh start, a fresh locker room, would he, you think, be a decent fit at a Cleveland, a Houston, a Buffalo, somewhere that really doesn't have a lockdown quarterback right now?
Yeah, and I think it would depend on the offensive coordinator he was paired with as well. I think Mike Shanahan in his first year made things as easy as he could for him. And I think a lot of coaches do that now with the quarterbacks who are coming in from college, in the spread systems and so on. I think they adopt a lot of the stuff that they did in college to make the transition a little more seamless. But eventually, they want to migrate to the professional game, which is, for the most part, drop-back passing. It's great to scramble and get out of trouble, but it can't be part of your entire repertoire, or you're going to be bruised and battered. And I don't think Robert is adapted to that at all. And I think the disturbing thing watching him play is not only does he have trouble sliding, he actually has trouble running out of bounds. Okay, and I'm not saying that to be flip, but remember what happened to him last year trying to get out of bounds against Jacksonville? That was the first of his injuries last year.
Yeah, he wants to fight for every yard. There's no doubt about that. Is that something when you say making the transition in, they make it as easy as they can and then try to slide you into the pro game? Is that what's going on with Kaepernick? Because I just get a feeling over in San Francisco that guy's not going to be a pocket passer. You got to let him kind of do what he does. But is that what's happening with Kaepernick as well?
I think to a degree, I think that's what they did with him early in his career. Now, remember, he did not play that much as a rookie, okay, and then kind of got inserted when Alex Smith got the concussion, and then they made the decision to go with him the rest of the way. Robert Griffin was Rookie of the Year,
right,
doing what he was doing, and, they had to make some adjustments. Remember, Colin Kaepernick was coming in on occasion when Alex Smith was the starter, and it's like, wow, look at this dynamic and so on. Then he became the full-time starter, and things kind of changed. But I think to a degree that's true as well. The problem with Colin Kaepernick is the way things are going in San Francisco, he's only been there since 2011. He's going to be the oldest player on the team.
Russell Baxter, our guest, NFL featured columnist for Bleacher Report. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3, and online, ESPNEvansville.com. Let's talk about another high draft pick from that 2012 draft. And those top three, looks like they've been strikeouts, two of the three. But a guy certainly we're familiar with here in this neck of the woods, as he was a member of the Colts there for 2 years, and that didn't work out. But Trent Richardson goes to Oakland. He doesn't make the cut. They've released him. Is that it for him? Is he done in the NFL?
Well, 3 times in 4 years, I can't imagine. I mean, he could wind up at a roster sometime this year with injuries and so on. At least he's an experienced back. But, by the way, you're almost shortchanging the sadness of that 2012 draft. Matt Khalil was 4th. Justin Blackmon was 5th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, you go down to 7.
Played.
Mark Barron, who's still on the league, but he's no longer with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was traded to the Rams. So you look at those top 7 picks that year, it just shows you the inexactitude of the draft, and that was only 3 years ago. But I still get to figure out what happened to Trent Richardson. It wasn't like he didn't have a more than respectable rookie year with the Cleveland Browns. Double-digit touchdowns, well over 1,000 yards in total yards from scrimmage, almost 1,000 yards rushing. And then it was almost as if he forgot how to play football. And I think he lost a lot of confidence and I think a lot of desire. Unfortunately, I can't quote you on the desire. I mean, that's an individual thing. But when you see him run, he looks so hesitant now. He had one big burst in the game the other night against the Arizona Cardinals, but for the most part, it just hasn't panned out. And for him to get cut this early is a really ominous sign.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. And the Raiders still on the hook. I believe they gave him $600,000 as a signing bonus or something that they had to pay him on that, and he didn't even make it to the first game of the season. Just one more.
We should all be on such a hook.
I know you ain't kidding, man.
$600,000, you don't even have to go to work.
Yeah, just on potential alone.
I'll buy you a few wings.
It's just, by the looks of Trent Richardson, it's bought him quite a few. But anyway, one more for you here as we get ready for the start of the season a week from Thursday. A team that, in your opinion, that underperformed last year that has a real solid chance of turning things around and maybe even making it into the playoffs this year.
It's funny the way you said that, because the team I thought underperformed last year did make its way into the playoffs, but they made it in with a 7-8-1 record, and that would be the Carolina Panthers. I know they lost Kelvin Benjamin. That's a big loss, but I think they've improved in other areas. I think their defense is clearly the best in that division, because I'm not sure the other three teams can play defense, although Atlanta looks like a more physical football team. I think Carolina repeats, but I don't think it will be with 7 wins. I think it'll be with 10 or 11, despite the loss of Benjamin. I think Cam Newton had a healthy offseason, which was not the case a year ago. I think they're acclimated now with not having Greg Hardy. That's a team I'm keeping an eye on that could make maybe a bigger dent in the playoffs. So I don't know if that totally answers your question.
Close enough. Take that.
I guess it was a trick question, or a trick answer.
That wasn't my intention. But Russell.
Oh, no. I meant, I don't think that was your intention at all.
Yeah.
It's just an unusual situation. Obviously, Seattle in 2010 and Carolina last year.
Yeah.
You don't often teams with losing records win division.
Yeah, right. That's Russell Baxter, NFL featured columnist for Bleacher Report. You can find him on Twitter at Bax, B-A-X, Football Guru. That's all one word. Russell, always a pleasure. Let's do it again soon, okay?
Sure, I'll be here in about half an hour if you want to call back. So.
Well, we got some. Maybe here in a week or two. We'll reach out. We'll touch base.
All right, let me work on that $600,000 worth of wings. Okay?
Yeah, appreciate it.
Hey, thanks,
Let us know
Russell.
what you find out. Thanks, Russell. Appreciate the time.
No problem.